My dear friend, can I ask you something honest? When you wake up in the morning, before the world gets loud, before the day pulls you in every direction, is there a quiet heaviness sitting on your chest? Not pain exactly, not sadness exactly, just weight, like something has been slowly, silently taken from you, and you can't quite name what it is. If you've ever felt that way, I want you to stay with me today, because what I'm going to share with you, it took me years to understand, and once I did, something shifted deep inside me. Something that I believe, with all my heart, will shift inside you too. We've lived long enough, you and I, to know that growing old is not what anyone tells you it will be. Nobody prepares you for the quiet. Nobody warns you about the mornings when the house feels too still. Nobody tells you that the hardest battles of your life won't be fought on some dramatic stage. They'll be fought in ordinary moments, alone, in silence, with only your own soul as your companion. And yet, my friend, I am here today to tell you something that the Buddha understood thousands of years ago, something that warriors have always known deep in their bones. Growing old without fear, without surrender, without losing yourself, that is the greatest act of courage a human being can perform. Not climbing mountains, not winning wars, this, right here, what you are doing simply by still being present, still breathing, still choosing to face another day. That is warrior spirit, and you have it. You've always had it. But there are 7 things, 7 quiet thieves that creep into our lives as we age. They don't announce themselves, they don't break down the door, they slip in softly, in the shadows, and they steal our peace, our joy, our sense of self, one small moment at a time. Today, we are going to name them. We are going to look them in the eye, and we are going to let them go. Are you ready, my friend? Let's begin. The first thief is one most of us carry without even realizing it. It is the weight of the past, not the memories themselves. Memories are precious. Memories are the gold we've gathered over a lifetime. No, I'm talking about something heavier. The moments we keep returning to, turning over and over in our hands like a wound we won't let heal. The words we said that we wish we could take back. The opportunities we let slip through our fingers. The relationships that ended before we were ready. The versions of ourselves we think we failed to become. Have you ever lain awake at night, replaying a conversation from 20 years ago? Have you ever felt a sudden sting in your chest thinking about someone you lost, something you did, something you didn't do? Of course you have. We've lived long enough to have a whole library of those moments. And some nights, that library feels like a prison. There is a story I love. A very old monk was sitting by a river one evening when a young student came to him and said, "Teacher, I carry so much guilt. I made so many mistakes when I was young. How do I put it down?" The old monk reached into the river and picked up a smooth, heavy stone. He placed it in the student's hand. "Hold this," he said gently. They sat together for an hour. Then the monk said quietly, "How does your hand feel?" "It aches," said the student. "The stone did not change," said the monk. "The river smoothed it long ago, but your grip tightened every minute. The pain is not from the stone. The pain is from the holding." My dear friend, the past has already been smoothed by the river of time. The pain we feel, it is not coming from what happened. It is coming from our grip, from the holding. The Buddha taught that clinging is the root of suffering. Not life itself, not age itself, the clinging. And when we learn, slowly, gently, the way you learn everything real, to open our hands and let the stones fall back into the water, something extraordinary happens. The ache begins to leave, and in its place, something light, something almost unbelievable enters. Peace. Quiet, patient, unshakable peace. You don't have to carry it anymore. You have carried it long enough. The second thief is softer than the first, more deceptive, because it disguises itself as love. It is the thief of living through others. At our age, So much of our identity has been woven into the people around us. Our children, our grandchildren, our partners, our friends. For decades, we poured ourselves into their lives, shaped ourselves around their needs, measured our worth by their happiness. And there is nothing wrong with that love. That love is one of the most beautiful things a human heart can produce. But my friend, here is what I've seen happen, quietly, painfully, in the lives of so many beautiful people in their later years. When those people grow up, move away, become busy, change, disagree with us, or simply live their own lives, we feel abandoned, forgotten, useless, and that feeling, that silent, devastating feeling of "I am no longer needed," is one of the most dangerous thieves of peace I know. The Buddha never said love less, he said cling less. There is a profound difference between loving someone and tying your entire sense of peace to what they do with their life. One opens the heart, the other crushes it slowly. Your worth, my dear friend, has never been something your children could give you, or your grandchildren, or anyone. It was yours from the very first breath you took. It is yours still. It will be yours at the very last moment of this life. You are not a supporting character in someone else's story. At every age, including this one, especially this one, you are the main character of your own. The third thief comes in the night, and it wears the face of tomorrow. It is fear, not dramatic, roaring fear. Not the kind we see in films. I'm talking about the quiet, chronic, low-level fear that lives just beneath the surface of our daily thoughts. The fear of the body failing, the fear of being alone, the fear of becoming a burden, the fear of what comes at the end. Have you felt it? That small, cold whisper just before sleep? Of course you have. We all have. And I'm not going to stand here and tell you those fears are irrational. They are not. They are human. They are honest. They come from a place of wisdom, actually, because we've lived long enough to know that some things truly do end. But here is what the Buddha saw so clearly. Fear of death, fear of loss, fear of pain. These fears cause us to miss the life that is happening right now. We spend our precious present moments in an imagined future of suffering, a future that may never come, or may come in a form nothing like we imagined. And in doing so, we suffer twice. Once in imagination, once in reality. There was a woman I heard about once. She spent the last 15 years of her life worrying about dying alone. Every morning, the thought was there. Every quiet evening, the fear arrived. She organized her life around avoiding that imagined end. And then, at 91 years old, surrounded by her 2 daughters and a nurse who had become like family, she took her last breath. She had not died alone, not even close, but she had spent 15 years alone, inside the prison of that fear. My friend, the Buddha taught us that this moment, right here, right now, is the only moment that is ever truly real. The breath you're taking as you hear these words, that is life. Not the imagined future. You cannot be a warrior in an imagined battle, but you can be fully, completely, powerfully alive in this one. Breathe. You are here. Right now, you are here. And right now, you are safe. The fourth thief is one that modern life has made almost unavoidable, and it is comparison. We've reached the age where the measuring happens constantly, quietly, often without us even realizing it. We compare our health to how we were at 50. We compare our situation to neighbors, to friends, to strangers we see outside who seem to move more easily, smile more freely, live more comfortably. And perhaps the most painful comparison of all, we compare who we are now to who we were then. I remember once, a dear friend said to me, with such sadness in her eyes, "I used to be someone." She had raised 4 children. She had built a business. She had been the person everyone called in a crisis. And now, in her late 70s, because she moved more slowly, because she needed more rest, because the world had changed around her, She felt she had become nobody. It nearly broke my heart to hear her say it, because what she had become, what you have become, what we have all become through these long, beautiful, difficult years is something no young, fast, productive person can claim yet. We have become depth. We have become earned wisdom. We have become the rare and irreplaceable kind of human being who has survived enough to know that most of what the world calls important is not important at all. The Buddha said there is only one comparison worth making. Not yourself against others, but yourself against your own highest nature. Are you kinder than you were? Quieter in your heart than you were? More able to let things pass? If yes, then you are not declining, my friend. You are ripening. Like the finest fruit, like the deepest wine, you are becoming more of what you were always meant to be. The fifth thief is one that many people of faith, good-hearted people, deeply kind people struggle with most. It is bitterness. Life has not been fair. I think we can both agree on that without any hesitation. You have loved people who left. You have worked hard for things that didn't come. You have been misunderstood by people who should have known better. You have perhaps lost more than your heart was ready to lose. And somewhere along the way, without ever deciding to, you may have hardened just a little. Not in a cruel way, not in a visible way, but in that quiet, internal way where certain words feel impossible to say now, where certain doors feel permanently shut, where hope itself feels like a risk you've already taken too many times. Bitterness is a thief, my friend, because it feels like strength. It feels like protection. It says, I've learned my lesson. I won't be hurt again. But what it actually does is steal the remaining sweetness from your life. And there is still so much sweetness left. I promise you that. The Buddha called it the second arrow. Someone fires an arrow at you. That is the pain of life. That pain is real, it was real, it happened. But the second arrow is the one we fire at ourselves through bitterness, through resentment, through the refusal to let what is over be over. The first arrow we often cannot avoid. The second one, we have a choice. You've survived enough already, my dear friend. You don't have to keep being wounded by what is already in the past. You can put the second arrow down right now, today. Not for the people who hurt you, for yourself, for the life that is still ahead of you, for the sweetness that is still, even now, available. The sixth thief is perhaps the most misunderstood one. It is the desperate need for the world to make sense. We grew up believing, most of us, in a kind of justice to the universe. That if you were good, good things would come. That suffering had reasons. That if you were patient enough, wise enough, faithful enough, eventually it would all add up to something that made sense. And then life kept happening. And sometimes it simply didn't add up. Good people suffered terribly. Unfair things happened. Prayers seemed to go unanswered. And deep inside, perhaps a wound formed that was harder to name than any of the others. A quiet, devastating wound that asked, why? Why did I lose them? Why did this happen to me? Why, after everything, does it feel like this? My friend, I want to say something that is not a dismissal of your pain. It is the opposite. It is the deepest honoring of it. The Buddha sat under a tree for a very long time with exactly this question, and what he found was not an answer. What he found was something better. He found acceptance, not passive, defeated acceptance, not the giving up kind, but the wide-open, arms-extended kind. The acceptance that says, this is life, all of it. The beauty and the loss and the mystery and the pain, all of it is life. And I am alive inside all of it. There is a freedom in releasing the need for the universe to explain itself to you. A freedom that is enormous, almost indescribable. You don't need it to make sense. You just need to still be here. You just need to still be breathing, still moving, still willing, and you are. You are all of those things. The seventh thief is the last one, and in many ways, it is the most personal. It is the belief that you have missed your chance, that the most important parts of your life are behind you, that real transformation, real peace, real joy, that those things belong to a younger version of you who had more time, more energy, more options. My dear friend, I need you to hear this. I need you to let it land somewhere real inside you. The Buddha himself did not awaken as a young man. He was not a child when he sat under the Bodhi tree. He had lived, he had searched, he had suffered, he had tried and failed and tried again. And it was precisely because of all of that, not in spite of it, that he could finally, fully open. The greatest spiritual transformation available to a human being, the deepest peace, the most genuine freedom, these things are not for the young. They are not easier when you are young. They are actually more available to us now, because we have lived enough to know what is not real. We have loved enough to know what matters. We have lost enough to know how precious what remains truly is. Your age is not a countdown. It is a deepening. Every year has made you more capable of this, not less. Every loss has softened you. Every hardship has widened you. Every morning you chose to continue has made you more, not less, of what the world needs. And now, my friend, we come to the place in this conversation that I've been walking you toward, because knowing the 7 thieves is not enough. Naming them, while important, while necessary, is only the beginning. The warrior does not only identify the enemy, the warrior chooses how to stand. So let me tell you how to stand. First, begin each morning with one breath that is only yours. Not a breath of worry about the day ahead, not a breath heavy with yesterday. Just one complete, deliberate, conscious breath where you say to yourself, silently, deeply, I am here. This day is mine. That single breath, practiced every morning without fail, is the most powerful act of resistance against every thief I have named today. It is the moment where you choose presence over fear, where you choose life over the stories about life. Second, find one small thing each day that is unconnected to anyone's approval. A flower you notice, a cup of tea you drink slowly, a memory you choose to revisit with tenderness instead of regret. Something that is only for you, not useful, not productive, just yours. The Buddha called this the cultivation of joy in ordinary moments, and it is, I believe, the most underestimated spiritual practice in existence. Third, speak less about what you've lost. I say this not to minimize your losses. They are real, they matter, but there is a practice available to us at this age that is rarely discussed, the practice of narrating our own lives differently. Not lying to ourselves, not pretending, but consciously choosing, where we can, to tell the story of our survival rather than the story of our wounds. Because here is what I know about you without ever having met you. You are still here. After everything, you are still here. And that is not ordinary. That is extraordinary. That is the thing worth talking about. That is the story worth telling. Fourth, allow yourself to receive. This one is difficult for our generation. We were raised to give, to serve, to be useful, to be strong, and there is beauty in that. But there is also a kind of pride, if I may say it gently, a kind of false strength in refusing to receive. When someone offers you help, kindness, company, when someone wants to be in your life, let them. Not from weakness, but from the wisdom that life flows both ways, and that allowing others to give to you is itself a gift to them. And fifth, sit with the impermanence. I know it sounds like the hardest one, but hear me, my friend, because this is where the most profound peace lives. Everything that has ever passed in your life, every person, every season, every version of yourself, they all passed. And yet here you are, still standing, still breathing, still capable of this conversation, this moment, this one quiet opening in the day. The Buddhist teaching on impermanence is not a teaching about loss. It is a teaching about freedom. Because if everything passes, including pain, then everything you are carrying right now, the heaviness, the fear, the old wounds, those too are passing. Right now, as you breathe, they are already moving. You are not stuck. You are moving. The way the river moves, the way seasons move, always, always changing into something new. My dear friend, I want to tell you something now from a very honest place. There will be people who watch this video and walk away feeling temporarily better and then return quietly to the same heaviness, and I understand that. Truly I do. Real change is not a video. Real change is a practice. It is a choice made again and again, on the hard mornings, in the quiet evenings, in the moments when no one is watching and no one is there to encourage you. And I want to be honest with you about something else too. The path of aging without bitterness, without fear, without surrender, it is not easy. It asks something real of us. It asks us to do the most courageous thing a human being can do, which is to choose openness when everything in us wants to close, to choose presence when everything in us wants to hide, to choose faith in life's continuing beauty when experience has given us many reasons to doubt. But here is what I have seen. Here is what every tradition of wisdom, including this ancient and beautiful Buddhist teaching, has always known. The people who make that choice, who truly, stubbornly, gracefully choose to remain open, those people do not just survive their old age, they illuminate it. They become, in their final years and decades, the most remarkable human beings in any room, not because of what they have, not because of what they can do, but because of what pours out of them, because of the quality of presence they carry, because of the peace in their eyes that money cannot buy and youth cannot fake. That is available to you. That is not a fantasy. That is the very real destination of the path you are already on. So let me leave you with this. You came into this world with nothing but a breath and an open heart. You didn't need anything to qualify. You didn't need to have achieved something, or proven something, or become something. And today, right now, you don't need anything to qualify for peace either. You don't need to have done it all correctly. You don't need to have been a perfect parent, a perfect partner, a perfect person. You don't need to be pain-free, or fear-free, or perfectly okay. You just need to be exactly where you are, which is here, which is alive, which is, if you're willing to see it that way, exactly where you're supposed to be. The warrior doesn't wait for the perfect moment to be brave. The warrior is brave in the moment that exists. This moment, your moment, right now. My friend, thank you for spending this time with me today. I mean that genuinely, with all the warmth I have. You could have spent this time anywhere, and you chose to sit here with these words, with this ancient wisdom, with this quiet hope that things can be different. That choice alone tells me everything I need to know about who you are. You are not someone who has given up. You are someone who is still searching, still reaching, still willing. And that, my dear friend, is the most warrior thing of all. If something in today's conversation touched you, or if you know someone who needed to hear these words, please share this. Because somewhere out there, right now, someone is sitting with that quiet heaviness on their chest, and they don't know yet that there is a way through. You found your way here. Maybe you can help them find their way too. Until next time, walk gently. Breathe fully, and remember, you have not missed anything. You have not been forgotten. You have not run out of time. You are here, and here is everything. Sonnet 4.6